Everyone is taking breathers. So the next question we have is from Rose. Do you have any details regarding on how to get our student IDs? So I'll maybe ask Dr. Gregory to answer.
Sure. Actually, I'm going to invite John Smith to answer that question. Thank you, Keegan.
Yes, thank you for the question. The registrar's office is almost complete in their development of an online request for student ID. This is going to involve filling in an online form, uploading the requested proof of a government ID, submitting your picture. They'll process it and send out the ID card. So that's all under development. It's almost ready.
Thank you. Garjinder asks, could you please explain to us fall enrollment and the resources available for first-year students?
I'll start with that. Keegan. So actually, we're about the same level of enrollment as we were last year. We're up about 1%. We have, at this time, 15,666 students registered for the fall. So it is comparable to last year. And with the exception of the small number of on-campus in-person labs and studios, it's all delivered remotely. And so that's the undergrad. I know the graduate enrollment numbers are up compared to last year. Again, it meets last year's enrollment plus. We're down in terms of international students, of course. Given the difficulties with international travel and the processing of study visas and so on, every university in Canada is anticipating a drop in international students. Even though there have been efforts, as Haroon has mentioned, to try to have students study at a distance, to complete half their degrees in their home countries before coming to Canada. Despite those efforts, we will be down with international students in the fall. I would direct all students to our website, and if you click on the information, the blue banner at the top, you'll see remote learning. All of the resources for remote learning are listed there. And rather than having me go into the details, you can access that information right on the website. And I'll just say that all of our resources are remote, and adjustments have been made accordingly to make sure that students can access all of those services remotely, just as Mr. Smith has identified, for example, online ID, or you can get your ID remotely. Counseling services is delivered remotely. And so I think you'll find all of the resources, the student supports that you have been accustomed to, you will be able to access those through remote modalities.
So just to add on to that, Student Affairs has been working very closely with all the faculties to expand our online resources. I can guarantee that all of our Student Affairs services are up and running. They're all fully staffed and fully operating, full-time hours. What you'll see starting with orientation is a greater number of resources that have been recorded and that will stay available to students throughout the year. Instead of just a 1 or 2 day orientation, it will span over several days and even weeks, where you can access different resources you've never been able to access unless you happen to go to that seminar at that time. So we've actually taken the COVID-19 opportunity to start developing all of these resources and adding them to our online libraries of resources so that students at any level, not just incoming and new students, can access these whenever they need them into the future.
Well, thank you. I will do a last call for any questions, and if there aren't any from anyone else, oh, there is one. Okay. Caitlin asks, are face masks going to be mandatory on campus in fall semester? Is university planning will provide face masks to students who enter campus?
So again, I'll commence. I don't know, is Darren Shawati on the call this afternoon? Because he heads up our health, safety, and wellness. I can tell you that yes, as of September 1st, masks are required to come onto campus. So when you arrive at one of the 4 access points, you will present your ID card, identify where you're going and the location, and you will need to put on your mask. We are asking students and visitors and anyone coming onto campus to bring their masks when they arrive at the door. Those masks will also be worn inside the university building system, whether it's in hallways, like public spaces, hallways, elevators, stairwells, and even in some of the on-campus course components that are being offered, masks will be required. So as you know, the masks, protect other people and you, but mostly other people from the breath cloud that you exhaust. And so they are part of a bundle of protective efforts, including hand washing and physical distancing and so on. I don't know, Dave, whether if Darren's not here, whether you'd like to elaborate on that question or that answer.
That was pretty good, David. And yeah, Darren isn't on the call, but yeah, the simple thing is that people will all need a mask. And so when you come here, bring your mask with you. There may be some specific labs where the nature of the lab requires some personal protective equipment that might be somewhat different than, say, the cloth mask that you might have as your personal use. And so that lab instructor, or if you're a grad student working in a lab, would have the details of what that lab requirement is. But otherwise, yes, we're expecting all students to bring their own mask, and to be in the public areas of the campus, you will have to be wearing the mask. That will be mandatory.
And I direct you to Zao's response to everybody on the chat. URSU is planning to provide reusable face masks to Welcome Week and URSU Cares Pantry in the fall semester. So the student union is also stepping up to make sure that everybody has masks.
And I should have also added, there's so many questions about masks that there's almost any moment now. I think that they were trying to get out a very detailed mask message to campus and something up on the website. I saw a draft of it earlier today. So it's close to coming out, either today or tomorrow, sometime by the end of the week. I'd expect to see it out, which has many frequently asked questions and other details about wearing of masks. So hopefully that'll help. And if you have questions after that comes out, please let us know. On the website as well, there's lots of different places you can contact. Like if you click, as Dr. Gregory mentions, on the blue banner, it's our COVID entry point for all information relating to COVID. So go ahead and click on that. There's another, if you click on the banner for contacts, just about every one of the different parts of campus. So depending where you might, I'm just going to click it now to give you some examples. Whether it's advising in career education, there's about 8 different links there to get information. Alumni, the Archer Library, the Campion Library, the campus store, campus security, College Avenue campus communications. As you can see, I'm going alphabetically. It goes on for a long different list of who you can contact to take and get information. And my experience is that it's quick. It's even though people are busy, they're at their computers working remotely. It's almost like the Maytag repairman. The kind of response has been very quick. If for some reason you don't get some fairly quick response, then let us know. But otherwise, lots of contacts, and people are waiting and willing to help in any regard we can. So we're trying to put it on the website as much as possible, make it easy. So use that as your first starting point. And if not, ironically, I'm trying to find it, but I think we created another, oh, there it is. just for inquiries, if you've got a general question, and this is on the communications contact in that contact website, either one of these emails are generic. Just ask any question. If you don't know who should answer it, ask.us@uregina.ca will work. That's generally for external ones. For internal ones, it's internal.ask@uregina.ca. But use any one of those. That'll go to our communications team. They'll respond and send it on to the right place if you don't know where the right place is.
Well, thank you for those comments. I will leave. I'm not leaving. I'm just. But we'll be going to 1:30, and I will leave about 5 minutes for closing remarks. So at 1:25, we will stop answering the questions, but that doesn't mean that your questions won't be answered. We can, like I said in the very beginning, it'll be all the messages will be saved, and so somebody will get in to answer those questions that you have. So another question we have is from Tisha, who asks, for the parents who might go to the campus, what are the daycare options for those parents?
Yeah, and I'm going to invite Dave Button to answer that, because daycares are a separate entity with respect to the university, but either Dave or John might be able to answer that question. John?
Sure, I'll take a crack at it, and if John wants to jump in, he can do so. Yeah, we have supported daycares. Actually, the student union supports the daycares as well. We do have arrangements with them to have a minimum number of students as their customers, and similarly a minimum number of staff as well. So we've built that in to try and make it more accessible to students, but the individual relationship with the parent and the child and the daycare provider is a private one that you have to take and work with them to take and access a spot. There's no just random drop-in opportunities at all. That has to be pre-arranged with the daycare provider. And there's two of them. One is right outside College West and looks like almost a private house. And the other one is in the main floor of the Kissick residence tower. And so for parents, please contact those folks. We don't run a daycare ourselves. It's through partnerships and a contracted arrangement with them.
Just as added information for the students who want to write this down, the names of the two daycares. The one on the front of the building is called Wascana Daycare, and the one in the Kissick Towers is the AWASIS, AWASIS. And you can find those in either Google or the phone book if anybody still has such a thing. And there's usually healthy waiting lists, so please call early.
John, do you know about the First Nations University daycare?
I'm not sure the name of it or who runs it, but there is one there also as well, I believe.
We can get that information and share it with the group.